We return to Borneo for one more dive into the mystery of the Goodwill plantation. Last time we saw Lucas and Loon in the workers' quarters and they were able to see that the Japanese invasion has indeed started, but that's not the whole mystery, right? More happens here and we have to uncover what happened to the individual people. So a piece of information we got here is that Lucas has been able to use the binoculars that they found to see that Edward and Dieter are with Ludwig Harrow at the jungle entrance. So we should take a look there. The time is 1 a.m. So if we quickly switch to the jungle entrance and pick Edward, Dieter, and Ludwig, then the resonance is still distorted. So there might be someone else there. Well, we know that Ludwig took the lighter, so we can use that to see some echoes. Ludwig Harrow goes through the corpse's effects. What do we have here? Ludwig gestures to his men to get the corpse out of here. He composes himself putting his vest back on. He splashes water from the canteen onto his face. It's time. Gather your gear, check your weapons. Tonight the Goodwill plantation falls. Okay, so not only is the invasion starting, but he's gone from pay your debts to, oh, we're gonna raise this place to the ground. So presumably the reconstruction is incorrect because we don't know who the corpse is. But because he has the lighter, we can also try to sense him at midnight and see if this reveals any more. So he's not here at midnight, and I'm not sure any of those items would be helpful for finding out what's happening here. So we have to figure out who was killed at the entrance. We know that Kanan was injured when they arrived, but he wasn't dead because he then appears later on. Well, another thing I wanted to get into is the binoculars that are found in the workers' quarters. I think they might belong to Kanan actually, because he would have a reason to have them, and workers' quarters make sense because that's where he would stay. No. So I don't think any other items we have can help us with the jungle entrance right now. Let's see what other holes we have for other guests. We still had more information for after the dinner situation, people have gone into different places. So if we go to the dining room before everyone leaves from there. For example, Rose takes Vitalina and they go to the observation deck. So at 11 p.m. they should both be there. So we go 11, Rose and Vitalina on the observation deck. Here they are. The air on the observation deck is cool, but Rose Goodwill is shivering from more than just the wind. Vitalina stands close to her. Rose, I must confess something. I was in your room earlier. Okay, so Vitalina at some point in the master bedroom, I guess, because she's obviously the wife of the current plantation owner, so she would occupy the master bedroom. I saw the letter, the one left upon the vanity. Rose, were you planning to end it all? Rose looks away, staring out into the inky depths of the Sulu Sea. She lets out a jagged little laugh. I was merely passing a fancy. Passing a fancy? One does not pen a valediction in a passing fancy. It is a cry for help. I suppose it was. I've been desolate, Vitalina. Simply desolate. Jerry was away for what felt like an eternity, and then I heard she was arriving. The thought of her here with him, it was the black dog on my back. I got into a positively frightful state. So you wrote those words merely to give him a fright? I wanted him to find it. I wanted him to find me, perhaps on the very precipice. Or perhaps merely the note. I wanted him to worry, to panic. I thought if he thought he might lose me, really lose me, he might fight for us. He might try to save this hollow sham we call a marriage. But I would never have gone through with it. I've not the fortitude for it. Or perhaps I'm not that reckless. Rose sighs and rests her forehead on Vitalina's shoulder. Vitalina, men like Jeremiah, they do not save things, my dear. They only acquire them. I know, but a girl can dream, can't she? And it turns out I was wrong about Cynthia. She's not so bad after all. Did you truly invite her into your own bedchamber? I just thought it would really infuriate him. A bit of spite to season the evening. Rose, you are monstrously wicked. I must confess something else. Do pray go on. I must beg your leave and take my departure. I have certain private affairs that require my attention. How frightfully mysterious. Run along then, darling. I'll stay here a bit longer. I do suspect Cynthia will be a while before she concludes her business with Jerry. I'll join her in the master bedroom soon with a nightcap. Maybe I can get more gossip about Jerry from her. I shall see you at breakfast. Sleep well, my dear. Okay, so that's the only time they're gonna be together. Vitalina goes off to do something else, and Rose will later be in the master bedroom with Cynthia. We already knew this from previously that, yes, Cynthia was saying she will sleep there because she won't sleep in the guest bedroom or in the guest house because Lucas is there as well. So Vitalina at some point was in the master bedroom, and she doesn't actually have a lot of slots left, right? It's only either 3 or 4 o'clock on this day because it must have happened before this conversation. So I guess we can take a stab at it. So the master bedroom is here. Master bedroom, away from the main house. The separate house building is the master and his wife's bedchamber. Yeah, so it's a whole separate house, the same as the other bedrooms. So at either 3 or 4, Vitalina is here. Okay, nothing happened at 3, so it must be 4. There we go. The room is empty. Vitalina Petrovsky slips inside, closing the door softly. She approaches the nightstand where a medicine bottle sits. She pulls a vial from her pocket. She uncorks the medicine bottle and pours its contents into the plant pot. Then she pours the liquid from the vial into the medicine bottle. She reckons the bottle, hides the empty blue vial. I think this is the same item we later find in the study where Jeremiah's dead. So, did Vitalina poison him then? She hides the empty blue vial and turns to leave. As she exits, her gaze lingers on a letter resting on the dresser. Oh, Rose, okay. Rose basically left a fake, I'm gonna end myself if you don't care for me. But yes, that means Vitalina poisons Jeremiah. Why? Why'd she do this? And so when she claimed to be in the chapel and I tried to locate her there, but it wasn't working, so where was she at 3 o'clock? But that also should mean that if we go into our item selection, we should be able to make Vitalina the owner of the empty blue vial? Yes. Which means we can now send her around the place so we can check if she was in the chapel just with someone else. And we also get the contents of the letter that she found. Jeremiah, I find that I can no longer endure this wretched existence. The stifling isolation, the heavy silence of the jungle, and this constant gnawing dread have become quite insupportable. It is clear to me now that you are wedded to this estate and its resource, while I have become little more than a ghost in your house. I care for you. Indeed, I have cared for you with all that remains of my heart, but I fear I am now a stranger to you. I desire only for this ache in my breast to cease. I beg of you, do not come in search of me. By the time you read this, I shall have been quietly claimed by the sea. I am going to the cove in our secluded beach. I've always held it dear, for it holds the ghost of the days when you still looked at me with kindness. I shall reminisce on those lost hours as I allow the tide to take me. Okay, so she was just basically going to go in the sea and not return. But it's not an item we can use for sensing people because she just left it in the bedroom. Okay, so was Vitalina in the chapel then at 3 o'clock? Yes. The shaman, an old wizened man dressed in traditional Baju garb, emerges from below the altar. Okay. The shaman, it is not the land that is sick, Mem Petrovsky. It is the master. The dark shadow clings to him, a spirit of greed and despair. It bleeds into everything he touches. The pearls, they are but tears of the infected sea. I cannot, but the spirits of the deep offer a bargain. The shaman pulls a small blue vial from his robes. It glows faintly in the dim light. This water is blessed by the sea spirits. It will cleanse the shadow from his soul. He must drink of it. One draught and the curse will lift. The perils will clear. Vitalina, taking the vial. Are you certain? It looks dangerous. The shaman bows and retreats into the shadows under the chapel. Vitalina clutches the vial to her chest. The natives that are basically here, they're like, oh yeah, this guy's just basically cursed, but if you give him this, that will cure him. I mean, dying is one way to cure you of a curse, I'm not gonna argue with that. But Vitalina agrees to help, which then comes together with he dies after taking his medicine because that's what she uses to replace, and he's in the study. So no one attacks him there, he just gets poisoned. So that gives us the partial echo, but unless we can identify the shaman, which is a different person from the pirate Ludwig, we won't be able to get a full reconstruction. But I'm not sure what threads will I have to follow to actually get their identity right now. So this is good to know, but it's not going to lead any further right now. Which means we can't fill this gap for Vitalina. We have a gap for Dieter at 4, but I still don't really know where he's gone. after coming through the jungle entrance and before speaking to Theresa on the lawn. So another thing we can track is that once Jeremiah finishes talking to Cynthia, he leaves the dining room to try to find some company. And I think that connects with the scene at the library where after Jiro leaves, Edward hears a friend's voice coming from the veranda and goes to investigate. So I think that might be then him meeting Jeremiah in the veranda, which means that midnight in the veranda, Edward and Jeremiah meet. Yes, they do. Jeremiah and Edward are in the veranda, chuckling as they pour themselves another round. Jeremiah, did you see the look on that young pup's face? Utterly terrified by the rabble of Zulu devils. Edward, you can't judge him too harshly, Jerry. He fancies himself a tough customer, but he hasn't the metal for this rock. Ha! Soft as buttered, a lot of them. They haven't the iron in their blood we had in our day, Bone? Indeed, my mind's been wandering back to 15th, I assume that would be like 1915, tonight, and the random business. The Random Rebellion of 1915 was the last major uprising of the Murud people against the British North Borneo Chartered Company. It was sparked by the company's tax policies and forced labor. The Muruds, famous for their blowpipes, or sumpitans, built intricate underground forts in the dense jungles of the interior. For young colonial forces, fighting an invisible enemy on their own turf was a terrifying experience. So that's back to some further battles they were getting into as part of the colonization. Trekking through that godforsaken Murud country for weeks, wedge rot in your boots and the constant dread of poison dart in your neck. The silence was the killer. You never heard the sumpitan. Just the sound of the darts, finding the men marching beside you. And those underground forts. We were chasing ghosts in the mud, outmatched in the deep jungle by an enemy we couldn't even see. But we held the line, didn't we? We always hold the line. We did, Jerry. We did. I'm feeling rather weary, old boy. I think the excitement has taken out of me. I don't know if I have what it takes these days. I am not the man I once was, Bone. I haven't the fortitude for another scrap. I truly fancied tobacco was a forever trade. I never expected the war to take those wretched cigarettes and render our cigar leaf quite obsolete. And we always had the shell, didn't we? Mother of pearl was meant to be the bedrock, and then it simply vanished from beneath our feet. Jeremiah Goodwill looks into the night. Fine black soot, the ash from the torched oil fields to the south, begins to rain down from the sky. And then there's the war. I'm tired, my friend. So tired. I'm going to retire to the study. Try to clear the cobwebs. Edward, I'll finish my glass here. Keep an eye out for any further uninvited guests. Good man. Jeremiah claps Edward on the shoulder and heads back inside towards the study. Edward hangs around for a bit longer, watching the sky as the black soot continues to fall. He then turns his head towards the back of the plantation and sees a strange orange glow in the distance. What in the hell? Edward grabs a croquet mallet from behind the bar and heads towards the source of the glow. Okay, we did learn that things were on fire, right? Lucas saw the invasion, but he also saw that the railway was on fire, something like that. But yes, he grabs the mallets. That's another item for our collection. And we know Jeremiah goes to the study, which is where he will die. So the mallet, does Edward own the mallet? I mean, it's probably part of the plantation, so it might be Jeremiah, but let's see. Okay. It matches to Edward, so I'm not sure how the ownership quite works, because obviously the same with the blue vial, like Vitalina was the owner because she was using it around, but she was given it, right? Wouldn't the shaman be the original owner, but it accepted it. But yes, we should be able to then sense where Edward has gone and what he's doing through the mallet. But before we try to do that, let's go to the study then and try to see what Jeremiah was doing there before. He's basically found dead by Kanan, I guess, from the rest of the conversation. So was he there alone at 1 a.m.? Yes. Jeremiah sits down at his chair. He picks up the glass. He takes his 2-1 dose. That doesn't taste quite right. Yeah, so that was the medicine that she replaced with what we can assume was poison. The cure for the curse. He starts to cough. He clutches his throat. I feel awful. He tries to stand up, but his balance is gone. He falls down hard onto the rug. Gasping for air, he spots the empty blue vial under the chair. He picks it up, staring at it in horror. Petrovsky. What have you done? Interestingly that he knows that it was hair from the vial. Unless it's a vial that she normally owns and she gave it to the shaman and then he brought it back with the poison. Maybe that's it. The empty blue vial slips from his fingers as he dies there on the study floor. A shadow in the corridor watching in horror as the scene unfolding. Vitalina, okay, so she was watching. Boże mój. Jerry, do be a sport and wake up. This can't be happening. That wasn't the plan. I mean, she is Russian, but the way this is pronounced, Boże mój, I think she says, my God, basically. Because that would also match what you would say in Polish, although it's not how it's spelled. Vitalina flees, her stifled sobs echoing through the house as she runs. After what feels like an eternity, Kanan walks into the study and discovers the body. In shock, he stumbles back and quickly runs to get help. And then he ends up just getting Jiro, right? Because that's the next scene. Jiro and Kanan are in the study. Okay, so what's next? Yes, well, Jeremiah's dead, so he won't have any more appearances. But that's interesting to go with that jungle entrance situation, because the reason I thought I couldn't open that scene was because there was a dead body and I needed to identify them. But even if Jeremiah's body is in the study, it doesn't seem to point out like I need to locate him there, because there is more to find in the study. So can we work out who the dead body is just by seeing, other people where they are and excluding them? Because yes, it is at 1 a.m. that we have the reconstruction. So we know it's not Jeremiah because he can't be a dead body in two places at once. We know it's not Loon and Lucas because they at that time are in the workers' quarters. But actually we don't have anyone else placed. Oh, well, we know that Edward and Dieter are there, but they're not the dead body. I'm pretty sure, because that would have just worked. Theresa was in her room, so it would be weird for her to then suddenly end up at the jungle entrance and get killed unless they burst in after Jiro has left. We can probably confirm. So at midnight, Theresa is in her room with Jiro, and there might be still there at 1. So let's go to Theresa's room. And at 1 a.m., she's there and Jiro's still there? Your reconstruction is incorrect. Because Kanan comes and gets him, right? Because Kanan finds Jeremiah dead and then him and Jiro are in the study. So it might be because Kanan arrives and interrupts them. Yes, there we go. A loud knock at the door interrupts them. Kanan from outside. Jiro? Ma'am? Theresa McIntyre freezes. Jiro scrambles to cover himself. Theresa. Go away, Kanan. Kanan ignores her pleas and enters. I apologize, madame, but I know Jiro is with you. I require his assistance immediately. It concerns the Tuan. Jiro whispering. Tuan Goodwill? Theresa. Hissing. Ignore him, Jiro. Kanan. It is a matter of life and death. Jiro looks at Theresa, then at the door. He starts to dress, his face pale. I have to go, Theresa. You're leaving? For him? If it's life or death, I know Kanan, he would not be saying this lightly. Let me go see what it is. Theresa. Go then. Run to your Tuan. Yes, because I mean, it's her ex-husband and she's like, my current lover is leaving me for some of my ex-husband business. So she's just being annoyed at it. Okay, so we know that it can't be Theresa, it can't be Jiro, it can't be Kanan, because they're here. Dieter and Edward, we know they're there, but they're not a dead body. Vitalina, she is mentioned in the Jeremiah death scene, and she then runs away, but therefore she cannot be a dead body in the jungle entrance at the time, right? That's not going to work. Cynthia, she's supposed to join Rose in the master bedroom, so we can check whether she's there at the time. Let's see. Master bedroom, Rose and Cynthia. No, the reconstruction is incorrect. Cynthia does have a bunch of stuff on her, including the biohazard sample, so we can see if she's there. Okay, she's not. Is Rose there by herself? No. Okay, so that doesn't quite help. But through the process of elimination, it could be Rose or Cynthia, and therefore, or it could be Aisyah. We completely lose track of there during dinner, right? She's not obviously at dinner because she's the servant. So what happens to her? Is she the one that's dead? Can we track her? She's in the kitchen at 7 o'clock. And actually, at 7 o'clock, she does see Kanan and runs out towards the jungle entrance. So she's actually going there, but we couldn't reconstruct that at the time because just her and Kanan doesn't work. Because I guess Ludwig is there as well. Like, that's the time he enters, so we can try that. If we go jungle entrance at 8 o'clock, that's the 3 people that we don't know where they are at the time. So let's see if they form a scene here. Yep. Kanan moves silently through the dense foliage, his weapon drawn. He spots movement ahead, a group of armed men waiting in the clearing. Whispers. Pirates, I knew it. He unsheathes his blade, ready to strike. A heavy blow strikes the back of his head. Pain explodes behind his eyes, and the world tilts sideways. Kanan crumbles to the ground, his blade slipping from his grasp. He looks up, vision blurring, to see a tall man towering over him. Ludwig. Clumsy work, old son. A trained mind like you should know to keep his eyes in the back of his head at all times. Ludwig raises his pistol, aiming specifically between Kanan's eyes. Aisyah. Hold your hand. Aisyah steps out from the shadows of the trees. Ludwig. Ah, the little canary. Have you a weakness for the stray dog, then? He is nothing, but a bullet now will rouse the whole plantation. The gunshot will echo from the cliffs to the very veranda. Ludwig lowers the gun slightly. A fair reckoning. Aisyah. Tie him up, leave him here. He can't stop you. Ludwig just stares at her for a second, calculating his move. Ludwig. Very well. But if this bites me, my girl, you'll be the one bleeding for it. Ludwig signals the men. They start walking silently towards the plantation. So is this what she meant before? Because she spoke to Kanan and said, like, don't interfere in whatever happens tonight, right? So did she know that the pirates were coming and they were going to basically destroy the plantation and that's how she would be freed? Well. But if she's working with them, why would she be dead, right? I mean, they might just go, we don't need you anymore, and then they kill her. But yeah, so what happens next, therefore? Is she still here at 9, like her and Kanan remain here as the pirates move to the dining room then? So let's see. Let's try at 9, her and Kanan at the jungle entrance. Yes. Aisyah kneels beside Kanan, her hands trembling as she cuts the ropes binding his wrists. I thought I could control this, but they are monsters. Aisyah checks Kanan's pulse, relieved when she finds a faint heartbeat. She helps him sit up against a tree. In the distance, a tall figure strikes out from the entrance of the main bungalow towards the railway. It is the pirate captain and his men. Okay, that's a new location, the railway, and yes, as I said, I think that's what Lucas saw was on fire. And that might be then what Edward sees from the veranda, and that's where he runs. Ludwig is not going back to the jungle, he's going to the tracks. Why? What is he planning? Aisyah darts off into the night, following the men. Well, I mean, he's trying to basically destroy the place. The railway, as we've learned, it was basically the connection between the plantation and the rest of the colonies. That's how they moved all the stuff about, so destroying it would mean they can't do anything anymore with the stuff they produce. So are they all going towards the railway then? Yeah, so now we have the railway up here, where the Borneo British steam engine passes through. So we have to move at least an hour ahead. I guess Kanan is still knocked out at the time, but Aisyah and Ludwig could be at the railway at this time. Yes. Aisyah measures from the tall grass to see Ludwig standing by the old steam engine. His men are dousing the wooden carriages with kerosene. What are you doing? This is madness. Why destroy the steam engine? You've scared Goodwill. You'll get what you want. Ludwig. I have a distaste for loose ends. I'm a man who believes in a bit of insurance. This iron rod is a double-edged blade. Is the quickest route for your master to bolt or for the armed constabulary to send their regards in a hurry. I prefer my guests stay put and my enemies to walk. Ludwig tosses his lit cigar onto a kerosene-soaked carriage. With a roar, the cart ignites, flames leaping into the night sky. Aisyah stares in shock as the fire reflects in her wide eyes. Look alive, men. Let's go. Aisyah screams and jumps on Ludwig, grabbing his blade. One of his men shoots her before she can strike. Ludwig gestures to his men to leave her as he kneels down to grab his blade back. Not a bad attempt, little bird. You have some gumption about you. Aisyah is kneeling over, grabbing her side. She starts to crawl towards the secluded beach, leaving a trail of blood behind her. Ludwig gestures to his men to make their way back to the darkness of the jungle entrance as he watches her go. Okay, but that means, yes, she's dying, but she's going to the secluded beach, not to the jungle entrance. Well, before we follow that up, that means we can probably fill in Kanan being at the jungle entrance at the time, because she left him there. Yeah, Kanan stirs, groaning as he clutches his head. What? Memories crash back into him. The sudden blow, the pirates, and someone else. Someone untied him. Somebody he knows, but it's too much of a haze. No, 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 no. He scrambles to his feet, swaying dizzily, and looks towards the distant lights of the main house. They'll kill them all. Ignoring the throbbing pain in his skull, he stumbles out into the desperate run towards the main house. And yes, that's where he ends up making it to dinner, right? So I was saying last time, oh, we still have this whole second, basically half of this timeline to fill in, but it feels like for most part lots is going to happen during the night and then no one might be left, so this might just be to not make it too easy to fill in. But now I'm not thinking there will be too much happening in like past maybe the 5 a.m. window. There might be a few people left, but we'll see. Still have a few gaps. The one with Vitalina, it's because I don't know the person she met with. But then Dieter and Aisyah. There is that scene where Dieter enters and it implies that they meet, right? Because someone says, I just saw the German man in the hut by the jungle entrance and I'll meet him in the usual spot, right? And when he's at the jungle entrance, he actually messes with the fence, because that's what his scene is. Yes, he uses a tool to loosen a wire of the fence post, leaving a mesh loose but visually intact. Does that mean they're basically working together with the pirates? So Dieter is also betraying them, right? Not only Aisyah, she's part of it, but he makes way for the pirates to get in. But I don't know where they meet. The only thing I had about it is that somehow after they meet, he's seen from the veranda and ends up on the croquet lawn. So like, where would they be meeting? What is their usual spot? Well, let's instead go to the secluded beach, right? We know about it because that's where the invasion starts, but we now know that Aisyah goes there after she's injured. A hidden beach surrounded by large limestone cliffs. So after she's injured at the railway at 10, at 11, she might make it to the secluded beach then. So let's pick that. Yes. Aisyah stumbles out of the jungle path onto the sand, clutching her side. A dark stain is spreading rapidly across her white uniform. She collapses near a set of caves in the limestone, her breathing ragged and shallow, weakly scanning the shadows. Dieter? Dieter! The beach is empty. There is no Dieter von Gantrum. You said you would be here, coughing up blood. Wait by the rocks, you said. We will sail away. You promised. She tries to crawl towards the water, but her strength fails her. Her hand falls limp to the sand as the tide gently laps at her feet, and the life fades from her. Okay, so she does die, but she dies at the beach, so unless someone moves her body to the jungle entrance, she's not the body there. But yeah, she was meeting Dieter, so he was her secret companion that while she was rejecting Kanan and all that. But does that mean that might be their spot? That's why she comes here? Because it's like that's their place they would meet. So we can try them at 4 o'clock here then, right? Because that's the two people we're missing for 4 o'clock, and that's where they were supposed to meet in their usual spot. The secluded beach is empty, save for Dieter and Aisyah standing in the shadow of a large limestone cliff. Dieter is all in readiness, Aisyah. The jungle track to the bungalow is unguarded to one. Excellent. And our guest? Captain Harrow will be signaling at sundown. I have trimmed the lamp and set it upon the ridge as a beacon. I shall be glad when this is all over. This waiting is killing me. You had best be right, Mr. Vergantrum. If this venture fails, it is not merely my situation on the line. It is our very necks. Have faith, my dear. The chaos will be our cover. No one will suspect us. I shall see to it that Kanan is occupied. You must ensure the company remains at the table in the dining room. Aisyah turns and slips away into the undergrowth. Dieter remains for a moment, watching the tide. When he is certain he is unobserved, he makes his way back towards the croquet lawn. Yes, and that's where he meets Theresa. So yes, they were involved in all of this, but she's died, and he wasn't even there for her where he was supposed to meet her. So we still have Ludwig after the railway. He goes back towards the jungle entrance, and he might be meeting Dieter there if he was involved in all of this. So let's see, at 11 jungle entrance, Dieter and Ludwig. It's distorted, and the only person we have remaining is Theresa. So does she leave her room? Because we can check that, right? If we go to Theresa's room, she's the one person that's left with without a placement at the time. Is she in her room? No, nothing happened at this arrow. So yes, she must somehow end up at the jungle entrance with the two of them, and she's the dead body. So let's put all three of them at 11 at the jungle entrance. No, it's still distorted. It's still incorrect. Ludwig has the lighter now, so we can see if he's at the jungle entrance. Ludwig and his men are walking back from the railroad tracks, looking for a spot to set up a temporary camp. He takes off his vest, the gold lighter visible in the front pocket, and sits on a log, sharpening his blade in preparation for a fight. Okay, so maybe it's just him here. Maybe it's just him at the jungle entrance at 11. And his men are just his men, they don't count as characters. Yeah, all that adds is they start a small fire to heat up some canned food. So yes, indeed he's here at 11. So where does Dieter go at 11? And where is Theresa at 11? So she's not in her room. So let's inspect dinner and look for clues about them leaving. Because I guess maybe they leave together. Yeah, she storms off followed by Dieter. Okay, so they are together, but we don't know where they go. We probably exclude some locations, right? They are likely to go to the boathouse. The chapel also seems weird. And the clubhouse. It feels like men go there. So they could possibly be on the lawn. They met there before. Then they're not gonna be like in those rooms, nor the railway or the beach. And we know she's not in her room, so potentially it's the veranda that makes more sense for where they would go. We know Theresa goes there a lot to drink her sundowners. So is that where they went? Yes. Theresa and Dieter are seated on the wicker chairs, drinks in hand. Dieter, you must tell them, Jeremiah and Bone, they are chasing shadows with this curse nonsense. I will tell them nothing, my dear. But why? It's cruel. Why should I save Jeremiah's empire when I am poised to inherit it? Inherit it? What are you talking about? The Brook Rajas are making their move. With the company weak and the war coming, they are expanding their influence. And I have facilitated their entry. You are working with them? And the pirates. Captain Harrow is a blunt instrument, yes, but effective. He clears the board so that we may set the pieces anew. You helped the pirates, the men who attacked us? How could you? I did for us, for you. I know you, Theresa. You have expensive taste. You would never look twice at a penniless German. But the German who owns the Goodwill plantation? That's a different matter. Join me. Be my wife. We can do this together. You utter arrogant idiot. Okay, so he basically is playing lots of people because obviously he got Aisyah to also help with this, but it seems like she may have been maybe into him, but he wasn't into her at all. He's into Theresa, but she is with Jiro, so just so much drama. You utter arrogant idiot. Theresa, do you think I care about the money? Do you think I care about this blasted plantation? You brought the pirates to our doorstep. You have endangered Loon. Loon will be safe. I have assurances. Assurances from pirates, from the land grabbers? I don't give a damn what happens to Jeremiah, or to me, or to you for that matter. We can all rot in hell for our sins. But if a single hair of my daughter's head is harmed, I will kill you myself, Dieter. A tap on the glass of the veranda window startles them. What was that? Standing up abruptly. I have to go. Stay away from me. And stay away from my daughter. Theresa storms off, leaving Dieter alone with his drink. Jeremiah and Edward can be heard coming this way from inside the house. Dieter sets his drink down and makes a swift exit through the outside door. Okay, so he confesses it and she's like, why would you do such a thing? Like, she's not into it. And guess the person that taps is Jiro, right? He summons her because he's free now. So she leaves to be with him. And then Dieter sneaks away. So that's everyone at 11. So now we can only go forward. Further identify who is where at midnight. I guess the route to take now is to inspect more of the scenes where we have numbers left. Because right now I'm not sure where people could have gone, like it's too wide of a check. So I think they went up the observation deck. This is still pointing to where was Vitalina at 3 o'clock. And we know that she was in the chapel, but we can't identify the scene fully because we don't know the shaman's identity. So that one's off. We have two things at dining room at 11. Okay, so this is where Cynthia talks about staying with Rose in the master bedroom. But also it talks about Kanan going to the kitchen. Okay, so that means we should be able to put them two at midnight somewhere. So Kanan is going to be in the kitchen at midnight. Yes, by himself. Kanan enters the kitchen, wiping sweat from his brow. He pauses, looking around the empty room. Aisyah? The stove is cold and there's no sign of Aisyah anywhere. This is odd, she's never absent from her post. He checks the back door, it's unlocked. Where has that girl got to? He paces for a moment, a sense of unease growing in his gut. Something is not right, I feel it in my bones. I must inform Tuan Goodwill immediately. He carries out the kitchen, heading towards the study. So that's why he then finds Jeremiah in the study. But she is out dying on the beach. Okay, so that means that Cynthia and Rose should be in the master bedroom at midnight. So let's try that. There we go. Cynthia is pouring a generous measure of gin into 2 glasses. Rose grabs one and sits down on the bed. 2 choices. They clink glasses and drink deeply. You know, I positively envy you, Cynthia. A lady solicitor, an independent woman with a career in her own right. Oh, don't waste your envy on me, Mrs. Goodwill. The bar is a boys' club. They look at a woman in chambers as if she were a performing seal. Remarkable for a member of the fairer sex, they say, with a sickeningly patronizing tone. And the pressure? Mother is incessantly harping on about when I'm in to settle down. You can't argue cases forever, Cynthia. Think of your ovaries. Oh my god, yes. The attitudes. Rose. Ovaries? As if one woman's functions had a best before date stamped on them. At least you have a life of your own. I have this, waiting for Jerry, fearing Jeremiah. I used to dream of treading the boards, you know, on stage in London. Cynthia, you have the face for it. And the theatrical frail, I'll give you that. Rose, standing up and steady. I do, don't I? Let's play dress up. Must you always wear these drab, stuffy suits? Let's see you in something positively divine, Cynthia. Oh, I couldn't possibly. Well, perhaps just the one. Rose pulls a shimmering slick gown from the wardrobe. Put this on, it's Parisian. Jerry bought it for me to wear to the governor's ball, but I never did. Cynthia clumsily changes into the dress. It fits her surprisingly well. Oh my, you look ravishing, Cynthia. A regular screen siren. Cynthia admiring herself in the mirror. It is rather dashing, isn't it? She spins around giggling. As she does so, she knocks her blouse from a nearby chair and pearls and the biohazard sample fly out from her blouse pocket and scatter across the floor. Rose stops laughing instantly, staring at the pearls. Those are Jerry's pearls, the accursed ones. Why do you have them? Are you stealing them from us? Or is it worse? I've heard stories about the Sandakan triads. They pay well for inside men. Is that it? Is the high-class solicitor act just a cover? Don't be absurd. I found them in the library. They were just lying on the floor. I picked them up to keep them safe. I was going to give them back to Mr. Goodwill. It seems trust is in a short supply around here. The air in the room grows heavily with tension. Then Vitalina crashes through the door, tears pouring down her face. Vita, whatever's the matter? Okay, that's after she saw Jerry die, after she poisoned him, basically. But does that mean the 3 of them are in the bedroom in the next hour, right? So we can put Cynthia, Rose, and Vitalina here? Yes. My instincts tell me I have uncovered everything there is to see in this location. The remaining hours hold no secrets. Yes, so that's the master bedroom complete. Vitalina falls to her knees on the foot of the bed, sobbing uncontrollably. Rose, Vita, speak to me. What's happened? Vitalina, it wasn't supposed to end like this. He wasn't supposed to die. Die? Who? Who is dead? Jerry. Jeremiah. Rose, freezing. Jerry? No, you're drunk, Vita. He's in the study. I killed him. I didn't mean to, I swear. Cynthia, sobering up instantly, her voice commanding. Explain yourself, Vitalina. What did you do? The curse, the pearls. I just wanted to save the plantation. I went to the bomb. It's who I went to see in the chapel. Babalian Antau. Okay, that's the name of the persons. Now we will be able to fill that in. Babalian Antau, a powerful shaman. I doubt I will be able to find a photo of him. He's too obscure, too hidden in the shadows of history. I'll have to deduce his presence by other means. I'll need to think outside of the box if I want to be able to piece together his movements. Okay, so not that easy then. Not that easy because we don't have a photo. He promised me a cure, a potion to cleanse the oysters. But he tricked me. It wasn't a cure. It was a tuju. A tuju is a curse where the shaman, the boma, magically sends the object into the victim's body to kill them. The victim suffers sudden, unexplainable agony, the stabs or the shakes. The Western medicines find nothing wrong. It's a terrifying concept, blending psychological warfare with deep-rooted superstition. I mean, could just be the poison that unlocks the occult. I gave it to him in his medicine, thinking it would remove the hex upon him. And then he fell, and he didn't wake up. Rose, staring blankly. You poisoned him. It was an accident. I love Jerry. You know I wouldn't hurt him. Cynthia, a tuju? He gave you a tuju to kill Mr. Goodwill? He said it would drive away the bad spirits, but it was a poison. Rose, a scream building in her throat. No, no. Rose scrambles off the bed, tipping on her gown, and bolts out the room towards the croquet lawn. Rose, wait. Cynthia grabs Vitalina by the arm, hauling her up. We have to go, now, before you say another word to anyone else. Cynthia picks up the biohazard sample and drags the wailing Vitalina out of the room, chasing after Rose Goodwill. Okay, so she's running towards the lawn, so they will be all there in the next hour. Okay, so the lawn at 2 a.m. It's Vitalina, Cynthia, and Rose? Yes. Rose stumbles across the croquet lawn, sobbing hysterically. She trips over a brass hoop and sprawls onto the grass. She lets out a piercing wail, a sound of pure heartbreak. Cynthia and Vitalina catch up to her. Vitalina pulls Rose into a strong embrace. Shh, my love. I'm here, I'm here. He's gone. It's your doing, your awful, awful doing. As Vitalina holds her tight, Rose begins hammering her fist against Vitalina's chest, striking her over and over in blind hysterical fury. Black ash begins to rain down harder, coating their hair and skin in soot. Okay, so the black ash just leads us to the reminder of the whole... The Dutch refineries were on fire, because they've destroyed them before the invasion. Cynthia looks up, shielding her eyes. In the distance, she sees the lights of invasion barges hitting the strand on the secluded beach. God in heaven. Cynthia reaches under her dress and pulls out a revolver. Rose stops crying, staring at the weapon. Rose. You, who in the blazes are you truly? Cynthia. You were right to be suspicious, Rose. I am not who I say I am. But that doesn't matter now. What matters is that we are in grave danger. The Japanese have made landfall, and we must get a move on. Cynthia helps the woman to their feet. We must muster the others to the study, on the double. As they enter the house, Ludwig's Haru's party can be seen in the distance, arriving with torches in the darkness. Okay, so she also works for the government or something, and she's been sent to look into this thing from the point of, like, they might invade, right? And that's why she's here? Well, interesting. Which might also explain why she just randomly, when she found Lucas's pouch, she just took the things, right? Because it was so weird. Like, if she was just a random solicitor, why would she just start snooping on that and be like, oh yeah, biohazard sample, I'll have that, right? But if she's some sort of government agent, that makes more sense. Okay, so they all go to the study. So then it's 3 a.m. So 3 a.m. in the study. It's gonna be Vitalina, Cynthia, and Rose, but there might be other people. Yes, so, but we can use the biohazard sample or the vial, because that's probably still there to listen in. Yes, Rose, Vitalina, Cynthia rush into the room. Then Loon is there, and Kanan, and Lucas. Okay, so we need more people. We have Vitalina, Cynthia, Rose. We've got Loon and Lucas and Kanan. And that's everyone who's in the study at the time. Kanan is already in the study, pacing nervously. Loon and Lucas walk into the room. Loon stops dead in her tracks, staring at the body on the floor. Father? She rushes to Jeremiah. She shakes him, but he's cold. Papa, wake up, you're frightening me. Loon Goodwill screams. She tries to lift him, but he is dead weight. Lucas, checking for a pulse, then shaking his head. He's gone, Loon. I'm sorry. Loon collapses into Lucas's arms, sobbing uncontrollably. He holds her tight, glaring at the other man in the room. Kanan, it was misadventure, an overdose. The pipe finally claimed him. He took too much Chandu. Lucas, an overdose? Look at his eyes. Opium doesn't cause that. Poison does. Lucas, raising his rifle, aiming at him. You did this. You were the only bleeding soul in this room. No, I vow on my life I found him in this state. Rose, Vitalina, and Cynthia rush into the room. Vitalina, hold your hand, don't shoot him. It was not his doing. It was me. The room falls silent. Loon looks up from Lucas's chest, her eyes red and confused. You? Rose is in shock. She is just staring at Jeremiah's lifeless body, tears streaming down her soot-covered face. Her gown ripped, torn, and full of mud from the fall outside. My love, Vitalina. It was an accident. I gave him the tuju. I thought it was a cure. Loon Goodwill's expression shifts from grief to cold fury. In a flash, she snatches the rifle from Lucas's hand. Lucas, Loon, no! Loon fires. The shot rings out very loudly in the small room. Vitalina shrieks, catching her hand. Blood drips onto the rug. Cynthia, that is quite enough. Cynthia strides forward, slapping Loon Goodwill hard before wresting the weapon from her grasp. Sit down and hold your tongue, girl. We are subjects of the crown, no savages. Kanan, see to that woman's hand before she bleeds out on the floorboards. Kanan rushes to Vitalina. tearing a shred of linen from his shirt to trust the wound. Now attend to me, the lot of you. Jeremiah is gone, and no amount of hysteria will fetch him back. But the Japanese are on the beach and heading this way fast. If we stayed here arguing, we'd join him. Lucas, lowering his rifle, eyeing Cynthia suspiciously. You're barking orders like a regimental sergeant major, Miss Seville. Just who the devil are you? Cynthia, MI5. I've been tracking a triad operation through the Straits. Jeremiah's Pearls fiasco was attracting their attention. And Babalia Antao, who provided the Tuju, one of their agents most likely. Lucas offers his hand to Cynthia for a shake. Lucas, SIS. The Secret Intelligence Service was the United Kingdom's first intelligence agency. It was founded in 1909 and was responsible for gathering intelligence on foreign powers, particularly Germany and the Soviet Union, and monitoring the fifth column. It was later renamed MI6. Yes, monitoring the fifth column. The fifth column was the name given to the Axis powers' espionage and sabotage activities in the Allied countries during World War II. It was a term coined by Winston Churchill to describe the Axis powers' efforts to undermine the morale and effectiveness of the Allied forces. So yes, he was monitoring the fifth column and gathering human intelligence on foreign powers, specifically sent here to monitor Japan activities. Cynthia. Well then, Mr. Stelling, it seems we are on the same side. We need to get these people to safety. Lucas, agreed, but it's not that simple. The Japanese are coming in from the sea, but I've spotted the pirates doubling back this way through the mangroves. They've torched the railway. Edward and Dieter are with them. Vitalina. My Lublime? Oh merciful heaven, please tell me he is intact. Lucas, he seemed fine for what I could see. The man can fend for himself, Vitalina. Kanan, Aisyah helped them, I realize that now. I was in haze when I saw her dealing with their captain, but it's all falling into place now. Lucas, I say we try to get to the boathouse and reach my launch. It's a grisly sight, but probably our only way out at this stage. Rose, we can get to the boathouse undetected by taking the secret companionway in the chapel. Okay, that probably explains this whole shaman coming from under the altar in there. It begins behind the paneling in the clubhouse, but we'll need the key from the library. Lucas, Kanan, Cynthia, you escort the ladies to the clubhouse. Rose, take a rifle and come with me. We'll secure the key, as you know the hiding place. Loon, I'm joining the party. You vowed to protect me. Lucas, very well, but no more sharpshooting our friends, do you hear? I'm dreadfully sorry, Vita. I simply cannot grasp that Papa is gone. Shots can be heard coming from outside. Everyone steps to the window. Some of the parties outside have torches, but it's difficult to see anything in the dark and with the soot still raining down. It's pure chaos. Loon, and Mother? Where is Mother? Kanan, one hopes Jiro has her under his wing. We can only pray that they see the writing on the wall and find a way out. Loon, no, we can't just hope, it's my mother. I am not losing her too. Kanan, very well, little map. A change of plan. I shall strike out and fetch your mother and Jiro. The rest of you carry out as arranged. Loon, then decided. I'm coming with you, Kanan. Loon turns to Lucas. Sorry, Lucas, we have to part ways right now. It is my mother, it cannot be helped. Lucas shakes her hand. See you on the other side, young lady. Cynthia pulls out the biohazard sample from her pocket. One last thing, Mr. SIS. I take it this is yours. Indeed, this is a sample of the green mist. A chemical agent the Japanese have been perfecting in the Sulu Sea. A lot of good men died getting this sample. I'm glad it wasn't lost yet. Cynthia hands over the biohazard sample to Lucas Sterling. Lucas distributes the rifles and the ammo, and they all disperse. Good luck, everyone. Okay, so now we have people splitting up and going in all different directions. So there will still be something going on, through the next hours. We're not completely done with it yet. But now we have more gaps in the preceding hours, so we should try and fill that in. At 1 a.m., we have Loon and Lucas in the workers' quarters, and then they arrived at 3 a.m. in the study, which means they weren't there before. So it's possible they were still in the workers' quarters at 2? Because yes, at 1... they're just looking from there through the binoculars. They see the blaze at the railway. They see Edward and Dieter with the pirates. So yes, let's try them there at 2. Yes, they're still here. Lucas shoves handful of ammunition into a canvas bag. He slings 3 rifles over his shoulder and hands 2 more to Loon. Take these. Can you shoot? I think so. Father taught me. Good. Aim for the center of mass. Don't hesitate. We need to find your father. He can help us figure out the best way to get everyone out of here. He'll be in the study. Stay close to me, Loon. Whatever happens, do not leave my side. They burst out of the quarters and sprint towards the main house. Okay, so that's why they end up in there. So that just fills up that slot for them. Next in list is Theresa. Potentially still in her room, because I don't think she had a reason to leave. So let's just try that. Yes. So that's after Jiro leaves her to go with Kanan. Okay, my instincts tell me I've uncovered everything there is to see in this location. The remaining hours held no secrets. Okay, so that completes Theresa's room. Theresa paces the room, furious. She kicks the pile of clothes on the floor. Bastards, every single one of them. The room is frightfully hot. She wipes sweat from her forehead. I can't breathe in here. It's like a tomb. She hastily pulls on a light dress, abandoning her undergarments in the heat. I need air and a gin to calm my nerves. She leaves the room, heading towards the veranda. Okay, so she's gonna be in the veranda after that, because I've been trying to track her down, trying to understand the situation with the body at the jungle entrance, but I guess it's also not her because that happens earlier and she's still alive by this point. So then we have Dieter and Edward with the pirates somewhere and Ludwig. Okay, well, we'll have to go earlier. So we know Edward is at the veranda at midnight and he grabs the croquet mallet and runs towards the railway. Well, we can try to track him then. If we go to the railway at 1 a.m. and try the mallet, so we can see bits. So Edward's there, he arrives, he just sees it's Harrow's handiwork, but then he sees Dieter as well. Okay, so it might be Edward and Dieter at 1 a.m. on the railway. Okay, well, maybe Dieter doesn't count as being there, so just Edward. Okay, yes. Edward arrives at the railway. He stops in his tracks, his mouth agape. Bloody hell. The wooden carriages are in golden flames. The heat is intense even from where he stands. The tracks are twisted and blackened. Harrow's handiwork, no doubt about it. He's towards the only way out. Edward runs towards the water tower, grabbing a bucket. He throws water onto the nearest carriage, but the fire roars back with redoubled fury. It's no use, it's too far gone. He throws the bucket down in frustration. I have to go warn Jerry and the others. He turns to leave, but spots movement near the jungle entrance. A figure is emerging from the tree line, from the direction of the secluded beach, carrying something heavy in his arms. Who goes there? He squints through the smoke. It's Dieter, stumbling under the weight of a limp body. Dieter? Edward rushes towards him. Okay, so Dieter is coming from the secluded beach, which means he's probably got Aisyah's body with him, so maybe she is the body at the jungle entrance because they move her. But that means we can probably track Dieter back at midnight to the secluded beach. So if we go secluded beach and Dieter, he's there. Dieter, still kneeling, spots a light on the ocean. He jumps up, waving his arm frantically. Over here, over here. The light grows brighter. Then another appears and another. A whole line of them. Dieter stops waving. The silhouette of massive iron hull looms out the mist. It's the Japanese. He hears the churning of engines and the splash of landing craft hitting the water. Invasion, not extraction. Invasion. He looks down at Aisyah. With a grunt of effort, he scoops Aisyah's lifeless body into his arms. Dieter turns his back on the incoming fleet and runs towards the cover of the jungle. Yeah, so he does get her. But that's at 1 a.m. Is he here at midnight as well? Because that feels like he's already discovered the body, right? It's not like he just stumbled upon her now. So if we switch to midnight and say Dieter is here, yes. And that's everything that happens on the beach. Dieter sprints onto the sand, out of breath. He stops short as he sees the motionless figure of Aisyah sprawled on the beach. Aisyah, no, no. He rushes to her and checks for pulse and but finds none. Black soot starts raining down from the sky. Ashes staining his face and clothes as he kneels beside Aisyah, incredulous of what is happening. Yeah, so that's where the black suit starts raining, because we saw that earlier on the lawn where the women are, that they get covered. And that's a sudden change, right? Because it wasn't like raining upon them earlier on. They're damped. This wasn't supposed to happen. He looks around wildly, scanning the dark horizon. Where's the launch? Where's the signal flare? A roaring sound from behind makes him spin around. High on the ridge, fire consumes the railway carriages, the orange glow illuminating the scene eerily. They're penning us in. The boat was never coming, and now the steam engine is gone. He looks at Aisyah, then out to the sea. The Rajas aren't extracting us. We are not partners. We are Lucettes. I've been played for a fool, yes, because he was actually in on the plan with the pirates, and he thought him and Aisyah will be able to escape, but instead they've been betrayed. Dieter sinks to the sand, head in his hand, and yes, then the Japanese arrive and he runs away. So he runs away towards the railway, and then he's there with Edward at 2 a.m. So if we switch back to the railway, 2 a.m. Edward and Dieter? No, nothing happened at this hour. Okay, so is this because... Oh, because they already moved towards Jungle Entrance. So Jungle Entrance at 1, we had the scene with some corpse, but that's before it would have been possible for Dieter to come here with Aisyah's body. It would have to be at least 2 a.m. So what happens at 2 a.m.? Let's try it with the lighter again. So yes, Ludwig is here, Edward is here with the mallet, and Aisyah's body is here, and Dieter is also here. So, I mean, we basically can pick them free. So Aisyah's body doesn't count as the person that needs to be selected. Edward stares at the body in Dieter's arms. He recoils in horror. Is that Aisyah? She's gone, Bone. What happened? How? There's no time, Bone. The Japanese are landing on the beach. The Japanese are here? The entire invasion force. Destroyer, landing craft, dozens of them. We have to warn the others. We have to get everyone inland. But Aisyah, we can't just leave her. A deep voice booms from the shadows of the trees. Ludwig. He's right, old man. There is no time for mourning. Ludwig steps into the light, flanked by 2 of his crew. Edward tenses, raising the croquet mallet. Easy, I'm not your enemy, not anymore. Dieter, you torched the steam engine, you trapped us here. I cut off the escape route of a coward. I did not know the wolf was already at the door. Okay, so he basically didn't know the Japanese were arriving either, so he's in trouble too. He looks at Aisyah's body, a flicker of regret in his eyes. I'm sorry about the girl, truly. She fought like a tigress. She deserves a warrior's death, not this. It was self-defense. My men, they are jumpy. Edward, self-defense? She was a servant girl. She had a knife at my throat before I knew she was there. She had spirit. But arguing will not bring her back. Me, my men, and I, we can help you fight, or at least help you escape. Dieter, why should we trust you? Because the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And because if the Japanese take this island, there will be no place left for free men. Yes, we get a reference to this because the way we learn about Ludwig is because there is historical record of him actually fighting the Japanese, right? So he's considered like a hero of the area, but obviously without the mention that previously he was a pirate loan shark of some sort. Edward looks from Ludwig to Dieter and back to the burning steam engine. Fine, but if you cross us, Harrow, Ludwig, save your friends for the Japanese, Englishman. You're going to need them. They all head towards the house, through the lawn, and past the clubhouse. Okay, so they're all together. But then what is happening here at 1? Because I can use the lighter and it tells me that he's inspecting a corpse. And they're preparing to attack, but then the whole other scene happens. But we have everyone else tracked down, and therefore it's just Ludwig here by himself. Okay, I was thinking before that it was him and the other people, but that's too early. They join later because of the whole Lucas sees them from the workers' quarters. Yeah, so he goes through the corpse effects. What do we have here? He finds a key to the passageway and pockets it. Okay, but weren't the other party going to the library to get the key to the passageway? So it's been taken? Ludwig gestures to his men to get the corpse out of here. He composes himself, putting his vest back on. He splashes water from a canteen onto his face. He looks towards the plantation, now mostly dark save for a few lights in the windows. It's time. Gather your gear, check your weapons. Tonight the Goodwill plantation falls. Okay. So it's a corpse of someone we don't know, but having a key to the passageway, obviously one thing that was happening is that Vitalina met the shaman, who seemed to have arrived through the secret passageway because he like climbed from under the altar. So is that him? Is that someone who was with him? We can't identify him yet. Like it said we don't have a picture of him, so we have no way to add him to the list. And plus, who would have killed him? Wow, this is getting complicated. Okay, so we still have some gaps. Where is Ludwig? I mean, he's at Jungle Entrance at both 11 and 1 a.m. So presumably at midnight he's also here. I mean, we can just use the lighter again to check. Okay, the lighter doesn't work. So he's not here? He goes somewhere between being here. Oh, because he takes the vest off and the lighter is in there, and I guess that no longer counts as him having it. And then, I guess if there's a body here at 1, then at midnight, this person might be alive, and therefore that's why we can't reconstruct the scene the same as we couldn't reconstruct Vitalina in the chapel, because we need to know this other person. So other than that, we're missing Vitalina at midnight. She's before that on the observation deck. Vitalina says she has private affairs to get to, and this is where she ends up going, like seeing Jeremiah die in the study. So does she go to the study at midnight? Because obviously she poisoned his medicine in the master bedroom, but she may have then brought it to the study. So let's see if she's in the study at midnight. Yes, she is. The study is deathly quiet. Vitalina steals into the room, placing the tincture bottle she recovered from the master bedroom and a glass of water upon the mahogany side table. Okay, so she actually took that. That's how the vial moves. She didn't just leave it in the master bedroom. Hopefully he thinks Aisyah brought it from his quarters. She's about to turn away when she hears Jeremiah in the corridor outside. Vitalina starts. The empty blue vial she was clutching slips from her fingers. It hits the rack with a muffled thud and rolls under the leather armchair. Oh no. Jeremiah from the corridor. Who's there, Vitalina? Vitalina freezes, unable to retrieve the vial with Jeremiah watching. Whatever are you doing in here? You look positively ghost-ridden. I crave your pardon, Jeremiah. I was just on my way to Bone's room. Okay, so we get his room as well. You know, we're still uncovering new locations while this is all happening. Why are you all of a quiver? Your hands are shaking like a leaf. It's the shock of the evening. I think I need to lie down. Quite. Well, I shan't detain you. Vitalina glances frantically at the armchair, then turns and hurries out the room. Jeremiah walking into the study. Singular woman. Positively from. Okay, so even though she was having a conversation with him and he wasn't in the study, he was just outside, it didn't require him to be accounted for in the discovery. Okay, so that's actually everything filled in all the way up to 3 a.m. where we have gaps, because the 2 gaps we have are where I think the shaman person we can't yet discover appears, so we can't fill those in. We know a lot of the people are in the study. This is where they then split up to do different things, but we still have to track down a few of the gaps. Theresa, Dieter, Edward. Okay, well we can track Edward. Okay, if he's at the jungle entrance, he might still be there at 3 because he has the mallet, so we can check for him. Okay, nothing happened at 3 a.m. at the jungle entrance, which means they have left after the previous scene. It says they all head out through the lawn and past the clubhouse. So if they're heading towards the house, does that imply that there's a scene on the lawn, or does it imply that they will be later in the house? Well, let's see, because if he still has the mallet, we can check that. So is he at the lawn? Okay, yes, there is an echo. So Ludwig, Dieter, and Edward are on the croquet lawn at 3 a.m. There we go. And that is also everything that happens on the lawn. Ludwig, Dieter, and Edward emerge onto the croquet lawn along with Captain Ludwig Harrow's crew of pirates. They are armed with pistols, blades, and burning torches. Edward is still wielding the croquet mallet. Wait, I think I see Vita over there heading into the house. Dieter, quiet. A crack of gunfire erupts from the darkness near the beach path. 2 of the pirate crew fall, cut down instantly. Dieter, clutching his shoulder as a bullet grazes him. We're dumped. They are here. Ludwig, firing blindly into the dark. Ambush, fall back. We need a diversion. The Japanese will overrun us if we try to make a stand here. They're still in the clubhouse. It's a powder keg waiting to blow. Dieter, you want to blow up the alcohol? Edward, it will create enough chaos to cover our retreat. We need to get to the main house and gather the others. Ludwig, do it. Edward and Harrow's men hurl their torches onto the thatched roof of the clubhouse. The dry roof ignites instantly. Edward, run to the study. Oh no, but wasn't there a whole thing that some of the people from the study were going to go to the clubhouse in order to access the secret passage, so they may now just die because of this? They sprint towards the main house as flames begin to engulf the clubhouse. Dieter notices Theresa in the veranda and splits from the rest of the group. Okay, so Theresa somehow ends up in the veranda and Dieter will join her there. Okay, so that means at 3 a.m. Theresa is in the veranda, probably by herself, or maybe with Jiro. Yes, they're both there. Theresa McIntyre sits alone on the wicker chair, deep in thoughts, a glass of gin in her hand. Jiro hurries along the veranda, intending to pass by, but stops when he sees her. He hesitates, torn between duty and emotion. He takes a breath to compose himself, but a sob escapes him. Theresa, not turning. What is it now, Jiro? Another calamity to keep us from our stolen hours? It's the Tuan. It's Tuan Goodwill. What has he done this time that could be worse than selling us off to pirates? He's dead, Theresa. Theresa freezes. The glass trembles in her hand. Don't be ridiculous. Men like him don't just die. We found him in the study. He was gone. Jiro pulls the empty vial from his pocket, his hands shaking. I found this near him. Theresa stares at the empty blue vial, then up at Jiro. Her face is pale. mouth slightly agape. Dead? Truly and finally? I hated him, despised him, but I loved him. God help me, I love him more than anything. Suddenly shouts erupt from the garden. Torches flare in the darkness, followed by a crack of gunfire. They watch in shock as the clubhouse erupts into flames. Theresa whispering, "The world is ending." Did you know? Jiro shaking his head. "No, I'm no traitor." Theresa pours another measure of gin, her hand surprisingly steady now. She downs it in one gulp. She stands up and grabs Jiro, pulling him close. She kisses him, a desperate, passionate kiss. "You are a good man, Jiro. You need to find yourself a good woman, someone who isn't broken, before it's too late." Jiro, touching her face tenderly. "I have a good woman right here." A genuine smile spreads across Theresa's face. A shot rings out and Jiro falls to the floor, dead. Theresa stares down, aghast. Jiro's blood all over her dress. She screams. So that's the end of Jiro, apparently, just taken down by the fire, potentially from the Japanese. And she's just there, alone, in the next hour probably, like the fallout from the situation. So yes, we've now filled in the 3 a.m. But yes, we can try and continue 4 a.m. in the veranda, just Theresa. No. So possibly other people arrive, because Kanan went to look for her. He might have heard the scream, and therefore he arrives. Jiro had the vial, but I guess it's on his body rather than she's holding it, so we can't use it to detect it. But if we assume that Kanan and Loon went to look for Theresa and they hear her scream, they could have arrived at 4 a.m.? No. Okay. So from 4 a.m., from the study scene, it ends up being Lucas and Rose go to the library to look for the key to the passage. So yeah, library, Lucas, and Rose. And that gives us everything from the library. Lucas and Rose scramble up the stairs, bullets chipping in the plaster around them. Japanese soldiers are swarming the downstairs corridor. Into the library, move. Okay, so they're actually at the house now. I mean, they were at the veranda, so I guess that makes sense. They dive into the library and Lucas slams the heavy oak door, throwing the deadbolt just as heavy impact shatters the frame. Bullets start splintering the wood. That won't hold them very long. We need that key. Rose, rummaging frantically in a hollowed-out book. The key is not there. Someone has taken it already. Yes, I was thinking that because the key item was found with the mysterious body at the jungle entrance. The room is suddenly illuminated by a bright light from outside. They rush to the window and see the clubhouse erupting in a pillar of fire. Rose, the clubhouse is gone. The secret passage is useless now. Lucas reloading his rifle. What do we do now? We're trapped. If we climb out the library window, we can get to the roof. New location. There's a safety ladder that leads down to the observation deck. And then what? Jump? It's suicide. I always contemplated jumping from there as a good way to go. But no, the tides are up. It's deep enough. It should be perfectly safe at this hour. Well, safer than anything here anyway. Right, fine. Let's do it. Lucas smashes the window pane with his rifled butt. Okay, so they're going to the roof and then to the observation deck? Which is interesting. I mean, looking at the map, right, the observation deck is like away from the house, so I'm a bit confused as how the ladder leads to the deck. Do they mean they go down and then they will be able to run? But isn't the ground all covered with soldiers now? Yes, we're adding like so many new locations. I thought we were wrapping up, but apparently there is still more. So the roof then. The roof of the main house. You can see the whole estate from here. So now it's going to be 5 a.m. and Lucas and Rose are going to be on the roof. And that's the only thing that ever happens on the roof. Lucas climbs out first, finding a precarious purchase on the suit's slick tiles. He reaches back to help Rose. Rose struggles with her voluminous silk gown, the wind whipping the fabric around her legs. She slips, a tile clattering into the darkness below. Lucas grabbing her wrist. "I've got you. Careful now." Rose. "Bloody dress. I should have worn trousers." They pull themselves up onto the roof, gasping for air. Look, the sun is on its way. The darkness is lifting. In the light of the incoming dawn, the horror of the night is laid bare. Smoke columns rise like black pillars from the estate. Below them, near the burning clubhouse, small figures unengaged in desperate melee. Lucas uses the binoculars to have a closer look. Lucas spots Edward, recognized by his sheer size, fighting off a group of Japanese soldiers with savage intensity. Is that Bone? He's fighting them off with his bare hands? And who is that running towards the chapel? Is that Miss Seville? It is, she made it. We need to keep moving. The ladder to the observation deck is this way. Okay, so Cynthia ends up going to the chapel because I guess the whole thing of people were going to go to the clubhouse, it's not going to work because it was set on fire. And it was supposed to be Cynthia and Vitalina who go to the clubhouse, but now it's just Cynthia making it to the chapel. Also, Lucas has the binoculars on him in this scene. I have previously tried to say that the binoculars belong to Kanan and that was wrong, but if they're in the workers' quarters, they can also belong to Jiro. So let's try that. Yes, they do. Okay. And we know Lucas takes them, therefore, so it might be for identifying him along the way further. But then if they're in the workers' quarters, it's unclear whether Jiro has them at any point. And then we have the key to the passageway. Well, if it's to the passageway on the plantation, would it just belong to Jeremiah? Yes, okay. But then it is found on the body in the jungle entrance at midnight, which means we might be able to check this scene? Yes. Yeah, the shaman catches up to Ludwig at the edge of the jungle. Harrow, belay that. This cannot be the design the Rajas intended. The plantation will be utterly worthless if you put it to the torch. The oysters? But the pearls, they're worthless. The pearls are tainted. Rust. It's just rust. The shaman steps back and he realizes the mistake he's made in running up here. You're with the triads? Please, Ludwig Harrow just nods. The pirates rush the shaman. The shaman falls, stabbed to death by a dozen swords. Okay, so he thought they were working together, but the pirates have their own plans. But that only lets us glimpse the situation. We cannot yet uncover it because we still are missing the shaman's identity. So it's just betrayal after betrayal here. Okay, more to the 4 a.m. discoveries. After the study, Vitalina and Cynthia are supposed to go to the clubhouse, so let's still try that, even though it then gets burned. So 4 a.m., Vitalina and Cynthia in the clubhouse. Okay, so they make it there. Cynthia and Vitalina race towards the clubhouse, ducking low to avoid the stray bullets whizzing through the air. They reach the edge of the clearing just as the roof is fully consumed by fire. The secret companionway is behind the paneling. We have to. A massive explosion rips through the building as the alcohol still detonates. The shockwave throws Cynthia backwards into the bushes. Timber and burning thatch rain down around her. Coughing and dazed, she scrambles to her feet. Vitalina! Vitalina! There is no sign of Vitalina. Only roaring flames and the sound of battle closing in. Between the smoke, she sees silhouette of pirates clashing with uniformed soldiers. Confounded, the entire scheme has gone quiet to the dogs. She spots a gap in the fighting towards the edge of the plantation. The others will have heard that. They will know the route is cut. I must strike for the chapel alone. Reach the planet rendezvous is the only card left to play. Cynthia stays low, skirting the carnage, leaving the blazing inferno of the clubhouse behind her. Okay, so basically Vitalina just dies in the explosion here. So that's why Cynthia ends up alone. So that means at 5 a.m. we can place Cynthia in the chapel. And she might be alone because everyone else is somewhere else. Yes, there she is. Cynthia paces nervously inside the small stone chapel. Where are they? The boathouse is still empty. She peers out the narrow window, watching the chaos unfold below. Her eyes slit as she spots two figures on the roof of the main house. What in God's name are they doing? She watches Lucas and Rose scramble out to the observation deck. Mad. Utterly mad. She turns back to the chapel interior, her eyes scanning the stone floor and walls. Wait a minute, the companionway. This isn't just a chapel. It sits atop of a reinforced structure, a war bunker. She pushes aside the heavy altar clock and finds a trapdoor secured with a rusty padlock. Got you. She grabs a heavy stone, but before she can strike, she notices something. The lock is already opened. Cynthia examines the trapdoor. The dust is unsettled. Someone was here not long ago. She heaves the trapdoor open, revealing a ladder leading down. Well now, this changes things. She descends into the darkness and re-emerges from the trapdoor, dragging a heavy wooden crate. Okay, so it wasn't even locked. They didn't even need a key. But yes, what's with the crate? What's her plan? Because they said the entrance was at the clubhouse, but it seems like yes, the shaman was able to meet Vitalina by going through the chapel, so they could have entered through here as well. Anyway, it does tell us that Lucas and Rose make it to the observation deck. So at 5 a.m. they're on the roof, but then at 6 they're going to be on the observation deck, and that's everything on the observation deck as well. So we're clearing stuff up where it comes to locations. But yes, there is now sadly so many of them as well. We've added so many more. Dawn is breaking, painting the sky in blood-red hues. The black suit is starting to disperse. Lucas and Rose stand at the edge of observation deck, looking down at the devastation. The clubhouse fire has spread, consuming the gardens around it. To the south, the railway fire has reached the dry tobacco fields, turning the horizon into a wall of flame. In the jungle, the pirates are retreating, their shadows flitting away from the advancing Japanese lines. The soldiers have secured the beach and are swarming the plantation. Look, down there, at the boathouse, Loon and Theresa are struggling with the raft's mooring rope. A squad of Japanese soldiers is closing in on them. They're trapped. They can't get the knot undone. Lucas raises his rifle and fires. Rose joins him. They pick off the lead soldiers, but the range is too great and they are running low on ammunition. Damn it, I'm out. Me too. They're still coming. I have to go down there. Lucas climbs onto the railing. Lucas, don't. You'll be shot the moment you surface. I have to try. He dives into the churning sea below, watching him disappear into the water. Oh, to hell with it. Rose hikes up her gown and climbs onto the railing. Geronimo! She jumps after him, plummeting into the waves. Yeah, they're taking quite a risk, and especially her in her giant dress, like how are you gonna swim in that? But that tells us that Theresa and Loon are in the boathouse at the same time. So at 6 a.m., Theresa and Loon, but they are now missing Kanan, right? Because Loon and Kanan were supposed to find Theresa and he's not with them, so he may have died in the meantime as well. Loon and Theresa stumble into the boathouse, slamming the door against the chaos outside. Loon rushes to the raft, her fingers fumbling with the mooring knot. Come on, blast you. She turns back to her mother. Mother, help me with this, it's stuck. Theresa is leaning heavily against the stack of crates, her face ashen. Mother? Loon rushes to her side. Theresa's hands are pressed against her side, blood seeping through her fingers, staining her dress a dark crimson. You're hurt. Why didn't you say anything? Theresa smiling weakly. We had to keep moving, little moon. There was no time to stop. Suddenly the boathouse door splinters as rifle butts smash against it. Loon screams, backing away. She raises her rifle, her hands shaking, but determined. Get back, I'll shoot. The door gives way. Japanese soldiers crowd the entrance, bayonets fixed. Loon closes her eyes, squeezing the trigger. But before she can fire, cracks of gunfire erupt from high above. The lead soldiers drop and others scramble back, confused, looking up towards the cliff. Loon follows their gaze. High on the observation deck, two figures are silhouetted against the dawn sky, rifles flashing. Tears streaming down her face. Lucas, I knew it. I knew you wouldn't leave us. So that's them seeing this. So then, are they still here at 7 as well? Loon and Theresa? No, it's distorted. It's possible that Lucas and Rose make it to them then? Yes, Lucas and Rose hold themselves onto the jetty, gasping for air. A deafening explosion rips through the beach behind them as a rocket impacts. Lucas, what in the blazes was that? Rose, divine intervention? Lucas, come on. They swim to the boathouse. Inside, Theresa is slumped against the crate, her dress soaked in blood. Loon is pulling her hand, weeping. Mother, please, get up. Theresa. Not this time, little moon. Not this time. Lucas quickly dries his hands on the trousers and examines the wound. It's bad. She lost too much blood. Come on, Loon. The raft is ready. No, I won't leave her. Go, my darling. Live. Live for both of us. This place is all I know. It is fitting I stay. Theresa grabs Rose by the hand. Take her. Promise me you look after her. I know we always didn't see eye to eye, but you're a good person and Loon loves you. Rose, I promise. Lucas grabs Loon, who is screaming and kicking. Forgive me. He hoists her over his shoulders. Rose, untie the mooring. Rose squeezes Theresa's hand one last time. Theresa nods. Aye. They push the raft into the water. I can see lights in the darkness. Is that your launch over there? Let's get there quickly. Theresa watches them go as life fades from her eyes. That's the end of Theresa. So yes, quite a few of them are dying now. But yes, Loon and Lucas make it out, right? They are now outside of the plantation, so we can no longer track them. They've just gone off. Which, I mean, goes back to the whole thing. The reason we're investigating this thing is because the brother does not believe that their family just died in the Japanese invasion. Even though it's partially true, obviously there's more happening here with the pirates, but also it seems like Loon has gone off with Lucas, so there might still be somewhere, right? It's not that she died here. But that means for now we wouldn't know how to fill in the rest of their timeline, if it's even possible. So we have to look back, like where is Loon after she leaves the study with Kanan? And what happens to Kanan? Where is Theresa, like in between the veranda and then joining Loon? Okay, well, let's look back at the timeline and where we still have clues. The Ludwig clues at the jungle entrance, they're most likely leading us towards... I mean, one of them is definitely for him then meeting the shaman, so that's not gonna help. And then that they go towards the plantation. What else? So after Jiro dies on the veranda at 3, Theresa's there. She's still there, I'm pretty sure. She screams. And then we have some other... Like, we know Kanan and Loon went to look for Theresa. And we also know from the scene at the lawn that Dieter noticed Theresa on the veranda and splits from the rest of the group. So does everyone make it there at the same time at 4? So Theresa's there, and then Dieter sees her and arrives, but also Loon and Kanan may be coming get her? Because that was their mission after the study. Dieter steps onto the veranda, his face twisted in rictus of hate. He levels his smoking pistol at Theresa McIntyre. Dieter, spitting his words, the help? You would not have me, but you would spread your legs for the help. For a Japanese, no less, with everything that's going on. Okay, so that's... He does this. It's not like a stray bullet from the Japanese soldier. Actually, Dieter comes in and kills Jiro in rage. Theresa staring at Jiro's body, numb with shock. You killed him. Dieter advances on her, raising the gun. Loon. Mother! Loon's scream tears through the night. Dieter spins around, distracted. Kanan raises his rifle without hesitation and shoots. Dieter looks incredulous as blood starts to pour down his face, a dark hole appearing in his forehead. He collapses over the veranda railing, dead before he hits the ground. A massive explosion rocks the estate, the ground shaking beneath their feet. The clubhouse is gone. Kanan, we have to move, now. Theresa, still staring at Jiro. Jiro! Kanan grabbing her arm. He's gone, ma'am. But Loon is here and she needs you. Mother, please. Kanan. The clubhouse is destroyed. Our route is gone. We must go through the kitchen window and sneak round back to the boathouse. It is our only chance. Theresa, looking at her daughter, slowly coming back to reality. Yes, of course. Follow me. Stay low. Okay, so now Dieter is also dead. And so we have Kanan, Theresa, and Loon going to the kitchen at 5 a.m. So let's move on with the time. And they're here in the kitchen. The kitchen is dark. And that's apparently all the events in the kitchen. The kitchen is dark. Loon Goodwill is standing guard as Kanan breaks the lock on the back window. He climbs halfway out, checking the perimeter. It looks clear, come on, ma'am. He reaches back to help Theresa. Suddenly he spots movement in the bushes outside. Get back! A burst of automatic gunfire shreds the wooden window frame. Kanan is hit multiple times. He jerks violently and falls back in the kitchen, blood pooling on the tiles. Theresa. Kanan! A Japanese soldier appears at the window, pointing his weapon at Theresa. Loon screams and raises her rifle. She shoots and the soldier's head snaps back as he crumples out of sight. Loon grabs Theresa's hand. Run, mother, run. They vault over Kanan's body and through the shattered window, sprinting into the darkness towards the boathouse. Okay, so this is where Theresa gets injured and Kanan dies, yes. As I was thinking, they ended up in the boathouse without him, so he's probably been killed along the way. Okay, so we still need to figure out where is Edward at 4 and 5, and then Ludwig. I mean, Edward and Ludwig, I think they're together, so if we find one, we find the other. So the previous scene is them at the lawn, and I guess they go to the clubhouse then, right? And yes, they blow out the clubhouse, and he says, run to the study. So him and Ludwig end up in the study at 4 a.m. Well, let's try it. Study, 4 a.m. That's the only 2 people remaining. And yes, they make it there. Edward and Ludwig slide into the study. They stop short at the sight of Jeremiah's body on the floor. Jerry? Edward falls to his knees, dropping the mallet, checking his friend. He looks up, confused and devastated. He's dead, Ludwig lets out the dark chuckle. A comedy of errors. I come to collect a debt of blood, and I find everyone is doing my work for me. Stop it. Have you no respect? Respect is for the living, Englishman. The dead do not care. Edward stands up, furious, and paces to the window. We miss the others. Where could they be? He freezes. Through the glass, he sees Vitalina and Cynthia running towards the burning clubhouse. No, Vitalina, no! As he watches, the clubhouse explodes in a ball of fire. Vita! Edward scrambles towards the door. Ludwig grabs his arm. Let her go. The place is swarming with Japanese. It's suicide. Get your hands off me. She's down there. Edward breaks free and sprints out the room, running towards the inferno. Ludwig watches him go, shaking his head. Fools, all of them. He looks around the silent room. He walks to the desk, takes a cigar from the box and lights it with the lighter he pulls from his pocket. He takes a long drag, then leans down and tucks the lighter into Jeremiah Goodwill's breast pocket. I believe This is yours. Ludwig turns and walks out into the night, vanishing into the shadows. His aura leaves the plantation. This was the last time Ludwig was here. He cannot be felt after that anymore. Okay, so this ends his timeline on the plantation. But then, where did Edward go? Did he just run outside and die? Well, I mean, he ran towards the clubhouse because Vitalina was there, so we can try if he's there at 5 a.m. Yes. Edward moves through the garden like a demon shooting his way through the invaders. 3 Japanese soldiers fall in quick succession. He empties the revolver and hurls it at the soldier's face. Oh yes, because Lucas also sees him from the roof, so we should have known. So I should have known he was there, but honestly, there's just so many things happening. Like, the action has really picked up the pace, and we went through just people having secrets and conversations about those to now, like, everyone's running everywhere. There's an invasion, there's pirates, things are exploding, things are on fire, people are dying all over the place, so yes. I've missed that observation. A violet lunges. Edward deflects it, drawing his knife in a blur of motion. The blade finds the soldier's throat. Edward catches a bullet in the thigh. He grunts but doesn't slow down. He snatches a dead soldier's pistol and fires point blank into the next attacker. He's surrounded. A soldier raises his rifle to execute him. A pirate bursts from the bushes, a kriss flashing in the torchlight. The soldier is skewered. More pirates join the fray, engaging the Japanese in brutally close quarters. Edward staggers on, ignoring the chaos. His eyes fixed on the burning clubhouse. He takes another hit to the shoulder, and another in the gut. He reaches the inferno and sees a hand sticking out from under a club beam. Vitalina. He plunges his hands into the burning wreckage. Flesh sizzling, he heaves the beam aside with a roar of pure agony. He drags Vitalina's broken body onto the sand. She's gone. Edward collapses beside her. He brushes the ash from her face with a trembling hand. I'm here, love. I'm here. He kisses her on the forehead one last time. He looks up and sees lights a little away from the shore. Look, my love. A launch. It's coming to save us. We can still make it. He does not move again. The fire roars over them, consuming the clubhouse and the lovers together. Yes, a launch. Lucas's boat. Okay, so actually we will be able to track where Lucas and Loon has gone. They're not completely off our map now. Yes, it's been added to here, Lucas's boat. Yes, Lucas's escape vessel. So this will be where Lucas and Loon are after they leave the boathouse. But Cynthia is still at the chapel, I guess, in those 2 empty remaining slots. So I should probably check on her in the later 6 a.m. Cynthia pries open the wooden crate. Inside, covered in dust, are hail rockets. That's what the rockets were. The hail rockets were a series of rockets developed by the British. They were designed to be launched from the ground and were used to attack Japanese positions. The hail rockets were a formidable weapon and were used by the British in many battles. That unlocks more of the Japanese invasion history material. God bless the British paranoia. She rushes to the window. Down below, Lucas and Rose have surfaced and are swimming towards the boathouse. The Japanese soldiers are lining up on the shore taking aim at the helpless swimmers. They're sitting ducks, not on my watch. She heaves one of the rockets onto the windowsill. It's an old crude missile, heavy and rusted. She strikes a match against the stone wall and lights the fuse. Fire in the hole! The rocket hisses, sparks flying, then screeches out the window in a powerful blast. It streaks down towards the beach, slamming into the sand right in front of the Japanese squad. Sand and shrapnel spray everywhere. The soldiers scatter, diving for cover, visibly shaken by the unexpected artillery. Ha! She reaches out for another, but the crate is empty. Damn. There was really only one. Bullets start chipping the stone around the window. Great, now I'm the sitting duck. She crawls back inside the chapel. As hail of lead hammers the exterior. Okay, well, she might be in trouble. Is she still here at 7? Cynthia is pinned down in the chapel, stone chips flying as bullets strafe the interior. She risks a glance out the window and sees the raft pushing off from the boathouse. Go on, get out of here. She checks her revolver. 2 runs left. I could make a run for it, try to swim. She looks at the beach, swarming with soldiers. Who am I kidding? I'll be cut to ribbons before I hit the water. She sighs and slumps against the wall. Well, Cynthia, you wanted a more exciting life than drafting wills? Be careful what you wish for. She grips the revolver tight. Right, let's make the king proud. She stands up, preparing for a final charge. But her moment of heroism is cut short as a different sound cuts through the gunfire. Sirens. Both sirens. She looks out the window. Rounding the headland are the sleek white cutters of the armed constabulary, and behind them, a line of grey warships, laughing in disbelief. The cavalry! The bloody navy is here! She sinks to the floor, laughing tears of relief. as the heavy guns of the destroyers begin to thunder. Okay, so the Navy did arrive. I mean, we did know this because there was some mention of it, right? Where after the call the Kanan made after Jeremiah died, they did call and say like it was the pirates that killed him or something like that. So they're here now to deal with it, even though it's not exactly what's been happening. We can go therefore to Lucas's boat and say that Lucas, Loon, and Rose are there together. They row frantically towards the large boat anchored offshore. Bullets zip past them, splashing into the water. Rose, row harder. The shooting stops suddenly, but they're too focused to notice. They reach the launch and scramble aboard. The deck is a grim sight. Bodies of British and Japanese sailors lie rotting in the sand. Lucas Sterling goes to check the engines. She'll run. They look back at the shore. The line of grey warships has appeared on the horizon. The Union Jack flies from their masts. Rose, I cannot bloody believe it. The Navy, they're here. Lucas, too late for the plantation, but just in time to give the Japanese a bloody nose. Loon stands at the stern, watching the smoke rise from her home. Lucas, do you want to go back? Loon looks at the burning land, then at her companions. There's nothing left for me there. Rose, not for me. Jerry's gone. Vita, everyone. Lucas, then we go. I have contacts in London. We can start fresh. New names, new lives. Lucas guns the engines and the boat turns towards the open sea, leaving the nightmare of Goodwill Plantation behind. So Loon made it out of the plantation alive? I need to let Mr. Goodwill know as soon as possible. Although I do think there is still more to discover about what happened at the plantation and why. Maybe I can find some clues as to where they went from here. So we've discovered the final report that I guess we're going to write. And that went into our documents. Mr. Goodwill, I have concluded my investigation into the events at Goodwill Plantation. The truth is stranger than the official report suggests. Your father, Jeremiah, did pass away on that night. It was not the Japanese who killed him, nor was it the curse of the pearls or the green mist. It was desperation and misguided occultist beliefs. However, I have life-changing news for you. Your sister Loon did not perish in the fires as the colonial reports state. My vision shows her escaping the island on a boat with your father's second wife Rose and a man named Lucas Sterling. They made it to safety. She could be alive, Mr. Goodwill, but they were attempting to escape back to England under a new identity. She chose to leave that life behind, but I want to believe she survived. I hope you find her, Delphine. And we can complete the investigation here. We have done it, Mr. Goodwill. The truth is finally laid bare. Your sister Loon wasn't lost in the flame. She survived that night. She escaped the plantation, and I am hoping she found a new life here in England. And that's it. That is the end of the Red Pearls of Borneo. So, yes, most of the people die, but at least Loon and Rose made it thanks to Lucas's help. So not all is lost, and now hopefully the brother will be able to reconnect with her. So this was an interesting game, but yes, a lot of reading and then just grabbing bits of information in order to get more reading. So I understand that may not be to everyone's taste, but I think the story was interesting, like learning all of the people's secret, all of the double crossing, and then this huge chaotic fight at the end. So yes, overall, I think again, single developer, a pretty good, interesting investigation. Yes, Delphine will be back. She'll be back because there is already another game in the works, although it does feel like, well, the investigator might be the same. She would be investigating a different case, maybe with some links. So we'll have to wait and see when that comes out. Until then, let me know what you think in the comments. And if you enjoyed this one, consider liking or subscribing. Thank you to channel members for supporting the channel, and I will see you soon on another adventure.